Thank you for your interest in Montana Legal Services and the Indian Land Tenure Foundation's Indian Will in a Box online form. In this video, I will walk through the entire process of drafting a will from the Montana Law Help homepage to downloading your final will draft. It is important to note that I am not an attorney and cannot and will not give any legal advice throughout this video demonstration. Let's get started. To find the Will in a Box online form, please go to the montanalawhelp.org homepage. Once on the homepage, find the link to the Wills for Native Americans page under the Native American Topics subheading. This page contains links for multiple resources that you may find helpful in drafting your own will. Click on Will in a Box form. This page contains helpful information to know before you start drafting your will, including the information you will need to collect in order to complete the form, how to save your answers on the form, and other helpful information and resources. When you're ready to begin drafting your will, please follow the link at the bottom of the page to the online will form on lawhelpinteractive.org. From here, you can either get started on the form right away or create an account. We recommend creating an account before you begin working on your will so that it will be easier for you to save your answers and come back to the form at a later time. You may also find it helpful to watch the Live Help Interactive introductory video before you begin. When you're ready, please click Create an Account or Log In. This will take you to a window where you can create your user account. The first box asks you which type of account you would like to create. For your will, you can create a self-helper account. Once you fill in all of the information required to create your account and accept the terms and conditions by checking the box, click Create Account. Once you've created an account, you're ready to begin. To open the form, click Get Started. This will take you to the Indian Will in a Box welcome page. It's important to read through this page as it contains helpful information about using the form, including the suggestion that you save the form as you go. The form will ask you to make sure that you have a Save button near the top right-hand corner of your screen before you can move on to the next page. If you've used the form before and saved your answers, you can reopen that form to save time. The form will then remind you to make sure that you're logged in. To go to the next page, please click the Next button on the bottom of your screen. This is where the next button will be located throughout the form. The next page is an overview of the information you'll be asked to include in your will. Once you've reviewed this information, you'll be able to select Montana as your state. The following page contains important disclaimers aimed at making sure that this form is right for you and what you'd like to do in your will. You will need to go through and confirm that you understand the disclaimers, that this form does not give legal advice, it does not take the place of legal advice from an attorney, using the form doesn't make you a client of ILTF or Montana Legal Services, and that the laws may change. Once you finish this, there will be a list of the information needed to complete the form. From here, you can choose to save your progress and come back to the form, or continue on to the next page, which defines and explains the legal terms you will come across in this form, and the following page that explains the ways in which you can choose to pass on your land. You can always come back to these pages for reference as you work on the form. This form is for tribal members or descendants that own trust property and/or have an IIM account and was created in accordance with the American Indian Probate Reform Act, or APRA. It is not intended for use by individuals who own trust property within the boundaries of tribal communities with their own probate codes. If you own trust land within the boundaries of the listed tribal communities, you may end up including something in your will that conflicts with the tribe's probate code, and so you may want to consult with an attorney. Once you've indicated that you understand all the disclaimers and are sure that this form is for you, you're ready to begin your will by filling in the information for yourself and for your family members. I'll now draft an example will to show you what you'll see as you work through the form on your own. The form will ask you if you're an enrolled member of a federally recognized tribe. If you select no, it will ask which generation of descendant you are and of which tribe or tribes. For the purposes of this example will, I will say that I am an enrolled member of the Crow tribe and fill in my personal information as prompted. Once you fill in your personal information, you'll be asked about your marital status. There are 4 different options: single and never married, divorced and not presently married, legally married, and widowed. Depending on which option you select, you will be provided with information and asked follow-up questions about any children that you may have. Additional tabs on the side will be created automatically depending on whether or not you have children. For this example will, I will say that I am legally married with 2 children. You'll then fill in the information for your spouse. My spouse and children are all enrolled in the Crow tribe, and both of my children are currently living. To keep everything consistent throughout the form, it may be helpful to go back and see the full name of the tribe used when entering the information for other individuals in your will. Once you've filled out the information for your family, you'll select your personal representative, the person who will carry out the wishes you outline in your will. You can name anyone in your family or anyone that you'd like. I will appoint my spouse as my personal representative. Then, you will select an alternate personal representative, in case the first person you select is unable or unwilling to act. I will name my first child, but you can name anyone you'd like and select their relation to you. You can then decide whether or not you would like to select a burial agent to carry out your wishes and manage any burial funds that may be made available by tribes. I will nominate my spouse and name my second child as my alternate burial agent. You'll then be asked if you would like to exclude or disinherit anyone from your will. If you're currently married and would like to exclude your spouse, this form recommends that you consult with an attorney. If you choose to exclude someone, a page will populate that allows you to fill in the information for the excluded person or persons. For the sake of this will, I won't be excluding anyone. The first decision you'll be asked to make is who you would like to leave your non-trust personal property to. It's important to read through all of the information provided by the form, but to summarize, non-trust personal property is any non-trust property you own aside from land and homes. Examples of non-trust property are cars, furniture, jewelry, and bank accounts. This form allows you to give all of your non-trust personal property to one person or persons, but it also gives you the option to leave specific property to specific individuals. For this will, I will choose to leave my car to my first child and include the year, make, model, and vehicle identification number or VIN for the car if possible, so that it will be clear to which car I am referring to when my will goes through the probate process. My car is the only specific non-trust personal property gift that I'll make in this will. On the next page, I'll be able to leave the rest of my non-trust personal property to my spouse without listing any alternates. If you choose not to name an alternate and the person you originally choose passes away before you, the property will go to whomever you list in the residue section that we will discuss later in the form. On the next page, I'll leave my non-trust real property to my spouse without listing any alternates. Non-trust real property is any real property, including land and homes, that you own off of the reservation. The residue section will double cover you in case your property cannot go to the person or persons you initially designated. I will select my spouse with my 2 children as alternates, inheriting the property as joint tenants with the right of survivorship. The other option for how I could leave my property is tenants in common. Beneath the options, there is a button you can press that will drop down information explaining these 2 options in detail. The next section addresses your trust property, as described in detail on this page. You will be prompted to confirm that you have read and understood the information on trust property as defined in this will. This will addresses trust and restricted fee land and any money in your IIM account. You'll first be asked if you own a home on trust or restricted fee land. You may choose to leave your home as an outright gift and name one or multiple alternates, or leave your home as a life estate and name one or multiple remainers. If you'd like more information on life estates, please click on the Show Help for the question above box. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'll say that yes, I own a home, and I'll leave it to my enrolled spouse as an outright gift, and choose not to name any alternates. Because I didn't name an alternate, if my spouse passes before I do, or is otherwise unable to inherit the home, it will go to who I name in the residue section. The next page provides information on trust and/or restricted land and who is eligible to inherit that land under APRA. After reading this information, you will choose who you would like to leave your trust and/or restricted land to. I will be naming my enrolled spouse to inherit my land as an outright gift and choose not to name an alternate. Because I didn't name any alternates, if my spouse passes before I do or is otherwise unable to inherit my land, it will go to who I name in the trust residue section that I will designate on the next page. You'll now select who you'd like to inherit your trust property residue. The person or persons to inherit your trust property should the individuals you initially selected pass away before you or are otherwise unable to inherit the property. I will leave the residue of my trust property to my spouse with my 2 children as the alternates as joint tenants with the right of survivorship. I can click the Show Help for the question above box for more information on what my options are. Next, you can select who will receive the money in your IIM account. I will select my spouse with both of my children as alternates. The last section of this will is the disaster provision. As is defined in this form, this provision allows you to designate where your trust and non-trust property will go should all of your heirs be unable to inherit your property. You can choose either your nearest eligible relative, your nearest and your spouse's nearest eligible relative, or the tribe for trust property and a charity or nonprofit organization for non-trust property. I will designate my nearest eligible relative for both trust and non-trust property. Once you've finished filling out the form, you should save your answers in case you would like to come back later and make any changes. When you click Next or Finish to move on to the page that will allow you to save your answers and download your form, there may be a pop-up indicating that you have left questions unanswered. Continue on to the next page to save your answers so that you can go back and review. You'll be able to find your form by clicking on the My Answers tab and selecting Saved Answers. To review my answers, I can open the interview and fill in any missing information that I may not have had when filling out the form initially or change any bequest decisions. You have the option to change the name of your saved will or save the updated version as an entirely new set of answers, but I will save my answers as the same form under the same name. Once I've finished, I can click the green Download Your Forms box to generate my will as a Word document. Once you have your downloaded document, it's important to read through and make sure you understand everything in your will, and that everything is how you want it to be. The form also includes helpful instructions on how to execute your will with a notary and 2 disinterested witnesses, and suggestions for how to safely store your original will. If you have any questions about drafting a will, or would like an attorney's assistance drafting a will, please contact Montana Legal Services Association by calling 1-800-666-6899, extension 149, by applying online at mtlsa.org/apply for services, or by emailing triballaw@mtlsa.org.